Good evening, social media, and welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports. My name is Earl Rush, and I will be the moderator for today. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. And we're going to start off with say hello to David Burnett from Indianapolis, the sports capital of the world. David, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Just happy that my Pacers are doing really well, and I'll certainly expand on that later.
Okay. All right. And Charles Snowden, how are you today?
Hey, Go, I'm doing wonderful. You know how I feel about Wednesday, 8 o'clock. I'm with my crew, and we're going to have some more people, too. So I'm excited. Can't wait to chop up the weekend sports.
Okay. And did I ask everybody? Then Larry was last but not least. Mr.
Well, Chuck took the words out of my mouth, or I should say I'm going to use his words. I'm hyped about this, too. So let's do this.
All right. We also have supposedly two other people coming on the show today. When they come on, they'll come on. That's all I can do. Let's get straight to the point. David, I was talking about you earlier not talking about you earlier, I was talking to you earlier. So we're going to start off with you. What do you think? What is your take on the NCAA drama that's going on with the players spying on each other?
Well, University of Michigan is being targeted by other members of the Big Ten. Michigan has dominated the Big Ten for the last several years. Jim Harbaugh is a lightning rod for criticism. And the reality, in my opinion, is the alleged infraction, so-called scouting without the right to do so, an NCAA rule, is a garbage rule as far as I'm concerned. I know that the concern is smaller schools can't do the kind of scouting that a school like Michigan can, but Harbaugh draws criticism, and sometimes it's merited criticism. I think at some point Jim Harbaugh will take the fall. He'll go to the NFL, and it'll be bye-bye Michigan, and Michigan's time at the top of the Big Ten will be over.
Okay. Larry, your thoughts on this? Do you have any thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to understand it. I found out that it's an NCAA rule, and like David just stated that, I guess it's to try to achieve some competitive balance against the smaller schools, even though I don't think that works out anyway. But, we have a rule. If you don't enforce the rule, there's no need of having a rule now. Whether we should have a rule is another story.
Okay. Charles, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not a lot of them. Look, I heard today that Purdue or a couple of the teams in the Big Ten were sharing this information of the stealing of the signs. I think it's much ado about nothing, but they will not let it go, and they're blowing it up, and so there's going to be some sanctions that come down on Michigan. The question is, will it happen before the season's up?
Okay. All right, let's get started here. Larry Edwards, what are your top 4 teams in the NCAA if you were doing the ranking right now?
I hate ranking, but I would probably Georgia, probably Ohio State. Who am I missing out? One of the West Coast, is it Oregon?
No, Washington and Oregon.
Washington's undefeated though, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Washington's the one I would take. And number 4, I don't know. Maybe Michigan. They haven't really played anyone, but I guess I'll take it.
And David, your top 4 teams, if you were ranking them right now.
You've got to put Florida State, and I'm not in any order.
I forgot about
State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia.
Charles, your picks.
Wow. I would pick Michigan, Washington, Ohio State, and Georgia. Those would be my 4 as well. Michigan, Washington, Ohio State, and Georgia. And Georgia.
You really are into that Big Ten stuff, aren't you, Charles?
Well, I gave 2 Big Ten schools as well.
Well, I already know
They
for
deserve
that.
that.
I already know for a fact that you're into the Big Ten. I already knew that. So, Charles, you and Charles.
But that'll get us. We'll find out this weekend. If Michigan is how good they are. They play Penn State this weekend. Not that I like Penn State a lot.
W. That is a
I
W
know.
because Penn State always folds against the big team.
Their offense showed up
time.
last weekend against Maryland. They scored 50.
It was Maryland.
I know.
Okay. Larry, do you have any players that you would consider to be in the Heisman Trophy running right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't remember one player's name. I think he plays for Florida State. Wide receiver was pretty good. But I also look at Marvin Harrison Jr. and those two are two top wide receivers I saw. Man, I guess I'll go with the quarterbacks out in Pac-10. The guy up in with Phoenix.
Penix.
Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, and guy from this area that won it last year. I'll put them as my 4.
Okay. David, do you have 4 top quarterbacks? Dave?
I don't have 4. I'll just name 2. Michael Penix Jr., who I was very critical of a couple of years ago when he was a quarterback at IU. He was often injured. I don't know how many years he's been in college football, 7, 8 years at this point.
Okay, just have to.
Marvin Harrison Jr. To me should win the Heisman Trophy. If they're being fair at all, he's far and away the best player in college football right now.
All right. Charles, do you have any players that you would?
I'm gonna piggyback off of David. If the season ended today, I'd give it to Michael Penix Jr. and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, did anyone see the USC Washington game?
Oh my God! Oh, I'm so sorry. Boo-hoo. Caleb Williams, pathetic. Stop crying. Grow up. Yeah, no, in all seriousness.
I guess that does.
I understand the heartbreak of losing. And, they fired the defensive coordinator. USC is a joke collegiate franchise because they can't play defense. They just can't.
Okay. Did you think it was a good game?
It was interesting. I mean, if you like offense and no defense, sure.
Okay, Charles, do you have any thoughts on the game?
I thought it was an entertaining game, and we've been saying it all year long. And that the USC team Larry started pointing this out last year, is that the defense of USC is just pathetic. And they have not improved, and so they finally fired the defensive coordinator.
I'm sorry, Charles.
No, that's okay.
I just wanted to welcome our guest analyst today, Carol Jackson from Georgia. Carol, how are you today?
I'm all right. I've been trying to get on since 7:35.
Welcome, Carol.
Aboard. Welcome aboard.
Glad you can make it.
Glad to have you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, welcome. All right, Larry, did I ask you already?
No, USC, Washington. I saw that game. I like defense. I didn't think either team showed up. It was like playing in the alley or something.
Okay.
Give me some defense.
Well, can I add this one thought about the lack of defense? This is not unusual for the head coach of USC. He had I keep saying it every week. He had no defense when he was the head coach of Oklahoma. He has no defense at USC, and yet he scapegoats the defensive head coach defensive coordinator. At some point, the so-called great offensive wizard head coach needs to be held accountable for a pathetic showing throughout his career as a head coach. He's pathetic.
Wow. Okay.
He brought the coordinator. He had the nerve to bring the coordinator over with him from Oklahoma. And
of course, there was no defense at Oklahoma.
Well, I know, but you would think,
Right. He doesn't, and yet he'll be a number one contender to get an NFL job. What a
I just want to add something real quick too about that. On Saturday, that game was going on. USC was playing Washington, and the two quarterbacks, black quarterbacks, they were both doing very well. And then on the other channel I was watching was LSU and Alabama. They too have two black quarterbacks, and that game was entertaining. And all four of those quarterbacks, I thought, put on a dazzling performance, and I was just very impressed with all four of them.
Okay.
We
Well,
got a shout out from Kung Fu CJ, huh?
Yeah, that is Carol. Carol is
Oh, okay.
and he says the road to championship goes through the SEC. Well, we will see about that. Did you see the USC Washington game this weekend, Carol?
I checked out some highlights, and like David said, there was no defense. And an average quarterback could look amazing when you don't have a defense.
Right.
You know, when you're great when you take the number one, number two, number three defense and put up 30, 40 points on it. Now you can say something. Okay. But when you just trying to outscore somebody, that's and like David also said, you think about this. Bill Belichick hired smart offensive coordinators because he knew he was a defensive coach.
Not Patricia.
And when he did that, he was able to put up points on people and shut people down.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Tom Brady. Sorry about that.
It don't matter.
Well, it
doesn't matter because they had a defense.
Amen.
You can't get to the championship almost in any sport without defense. You have to have defense. Period. If you can't stop the run, but you can stop the pass, but then you can stop the pass, but not the, you know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
You have a weakness and other teams will exploit it.
Yep.
Okay. Guys, I gotta remind everybody that we have another analyst coming on, so we have to be aware of how long our answers are.
Got you.
All right. Okay. So let's cover the does anybody have any thoughts on the World Series? Larry, do you have anything to say about the World Series?
Yeah, I guess Texas went on and won it. They were up 3-1 last week when we met. They both of those teams had lost over 100 games 2 years ago. Texas went the free agent route and bought stars, and they got over the hump.
Okay. Charles, do you have anything?
Nothing additional. I mentioned this last week. Corey Seager came over from the Dodgers to the Rangers. He played well for the Dodgers. He played really well for the Rangers in that World Series, and so just wanted to make a mention of him again.
Okay. I know David really could care less about the World Series. But
well,
David,
let me just say this. It's the lowest rated World Series in years. Enough said.
Did you cover this? Did you watch the series, Carol?
No, it's Carol. Go ahead, Carol.
I didn't. I just watched the highlights, and what I saw was when they went up 3, they gave them a win so they can win at home. That's what I saw.
All right. Okay. All right. So much about the World Series. I thought it was a good series. Arizona tried to make it a competitive series, but they just didn't have the weapons. All right. So now we're going over to the NFL, and I'd like to introduce our new analyst that's coming on the show. She'll be checking in with us. I don't know if it's weekly, but she'll be checking in with us a lot. It might be weekly. She's got other things she got to do. Let's welcome Lauren Ashley Lassiter from the DMV. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Okay.
Hey.
Welcome, Lauren.
Lauren happens to be the niece of Larry Abels. So if you guys want to talk about nepotism because his nephew is on the other show, we don't care. That's who we want to have on the show. Welcome to the show, Lauren. And like I said, we're going to go into cover the NFL right now. Again, I
right.
want to remind each other we have two more than we normally have, so just be wary of the long responses. Okay. All right. So, first thing we want to talk about is who are your top 5 teams in the NFL, Larry? Your top 5 or top 4 teams?
Top 4 would definitely be Philadelphia, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and gosh, I got a bunch of them that I could put for number 5, but for the sake of argument, I'm gonna stick with San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh. David, your top 4 to 5 teams.
Baltimore is right now neck and neck with Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is the number 1 team so far. Baltimore would be right with them, just behind them. After that, it gets hard for me at this point. It's hard for me to go past it. Kansas City, of course, even though I think they're kind of struggling, they don't have the offense that they have had. But Kansas City's in there because they're the defending champion and they have the best quarterback in football. Cincinnati has resurgent. And then I'm gonna go against the grain and say that the Pittsburgh Steelers, with limited offense, but the best coach in football right now is Mike Tomlin. Best coach in football right now is Mike Tomlin. And if I would not be surprised if by the end of the season, Pittsburgh is part of the equation.
Okay, Lauren, who are your top 4 to 5 teams in the National Football League?
I'm gonna sound repetitive, but I'm going Eagles, Kansas City, Baltimore, and I'm putting them in my 4. Despite their record right now, I'm putting the Bills up there. I really think they're gonna have a big second half.
Okay, I asked you. You told me who you thought. All right. Okay. All right, Carol, your top 4 to 5 teams in the NFL.
It's simple: Eagles, Ravens, Bengals, KC, and Miami.
Oh, okay. All right, Charles, your top 4 to 5 teams.
It's Philly and the Ravens, and I mean the Ravens are coming. So it's Philly and the Ravens at the top. I have the Chiefs 3rd. I have the 49ers 4th. And I have the Bengals 5th.
Okay. Did I leave anyone out on this question? Did I ask everyone a question?
Yes.
I think you did.
Okay. I got a lot going on. I apologize. All right.
It's all right.
Okay. So did I name my teams? I don't know. Who cares about what I think? We don't have time for all that.
No, what do you think, Earl? What do you think?
Yeah, what do you think, Earl?
I'm going with Philadelphia is the best team in the NFC. Then I would go with Kansas. Then I would go with the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would go with Kansas City. As far as I go. I can't put Miami in my top team. They're too soft for me. So the teams I named are where I am. My top teams. Okay. All right. Okay. Quarterbacks. Who are your top 4 quarterbacks? Not 5. It's not that many that are great. Who are your top quarterbacks right now? Reason why I asked is because 5 minutes ago, David said that Kansas City has the best quarterback. So when I'm asking you to rank them, I mean, for how they have been playing right now, I would go with Joe Burrows right now. But who are your top 5 quarterbacks? Top 4 quarterbacks, Lauren?
I'm putting Mahomes is always going to be in my top. I really like Josh Allen. And of course, his name is escaping me right now, the Eagles quarterback who
Jalen Hurts.
yes, I love him. He's good. He's a bad boy.
Okay. All right. David, your top ranked quarterbacks?
Right now, I've got to put Jalen Hurts as number 1. He's the top quarterback with the top team. Patrick Mahomes right there with him. But Patrick Mahomes is, historically great. But at this moment, I think Jalen Hurts is playing better. Patrick Mahomes has thrown a number of interceptions. I think he's thrown 6 or 7 interceptions already this year. which is among the league lead. So, as great as he is, he still is struggling with receivers who sometimes don't catch the ball well. Mahomes and Hurts. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Burrow, I'd like to put Burrow in, but that takes away from the fact that he struggled horribly at the beginning of the season.
Sure.
So just because he's playing well in the last couple of games doesn't mean that his body of work for the season merits him being in my top 5 or top 3. I'm not going to put him there.
Okay, my man William Hall. What's up, William? Thanks for tuning in. His top 3 are Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. Okay, it's not a bad pick, William. Not bad. Okay. All right. Your top 4 to 5 quarterbacks, Carol.
It's the same thing. Mahomes, Hurt, Burrow, Allen, and Jackson.
Okay.
The reason why I put Burrow in there is because he did the same thing last season, and he led the Bengals all the way deep into the playoffs. So, yes, Burrow struggles in the beginning. Why? Because it's the beginning of the season. He's been to a Super Bowl, he's been to a national championship, so he's familiar with what he has to do to get his team over the top.
Okay. All right. Okay. Charles, did you name 4?
No, I didn't. Let me do it now. I'm gonna name 5. So
Okay.
I'm gonna name Lamar, Burrows, Hurt, Mahomes, and my 5th one is CJ Stroud right now.
He picked the rookie.
Okay.
14 touchdowns, 1 interception. That team is right there in the mix as well.
Okay. Larry, your top quarterbacks?
Yeah, and these are mine. I have Tua because I still think he's been lighting it up this year.
That's
Mahomes, Burrows, Hurts, and Jackson. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the top 5 I got.
All right. You know what? I said earlier I didn't care if they were over 4, but I might do because I can't remember who I asked. Did you address that situation, Lauren?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're good. Okay. Now, my next question is, Lauren, are the Detroit Lions for real, or are they the Detroit Lions of always?
Never have a lot of faith in the Lions. They're doing well, but I don't know if they're real yet. I'm not giving them the real title just yet.
Okay, Treese Nicole says, "Yay, Lauren!" All right. Okay. All right. Okay. David.
The question is,
Are the Lions for real?
Are the Lions?
They're as real as any other team at this point. It's hard to take away from the fact that they have not had but one playoff victory since 1991. And the last time they were meaningful was 1957. So, we can't escape that fact, but that's historically. But right now, they're one of the best teams. Now, can they continue that in the playoffs, which they will make, because they're in a weak division. But history says no. But right now, I say I think they're for real.
Okay. Our other Abels family, Neil, is being straight up today. And
no, he didn't.
No, they are average, and he's absolutely correct. Absolutely. Larry, your thoughts, are the Lions for real, or?
Well, the NFC is actually weak. David said they're the weak conference, but weak division. They're actually in a weak conference. So I expect them to make the playoffs. So I guess they're about as real as one can expect for the NFC. I don't think they're going to go far, but if real is making the playoffs, they're real this year.
Okay. All right.
You got another shout out from your cousin. You see that, right?
Hey, cuz.
Okay, David, I'm going to ask you straight up. What's the story with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys?
Well, first of all, the Cowboys are the #1 franchise in the NFL and have been for many years in terms of recognition, in terms of publicity, in terms of argument. They are #1 and have been for decades. So anything Dak Prescott does is being overanalyzed. He's a pretty good quarterback. If he was playing for any other team, you would think he was pretty good. But because he's playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and again, I'm not a big Dak Prescott fan, but but there has to be some fairness applied here. It's because he plays for the Cowboys is why we overly scrutinize his play. So any mistake he made is magnified. I think he's an okay quarterback. Is he great? No. But is he more than adequate? Yeah, he's a top 10 quarterback.
Okay, Carl, your thoughts on the Cowboys, on Dak Prescott and the Cowboys?
Well, you ain't called on me for the last question, so can I?
I'm not gonna call everybody all the time because we have.
I know
people.
Because what people don't understand is the Detroit Lions finished strong last year, and all they doing is building on what they did last year.
I agree with that.
Okay, now as far as that, he has to find a way to get his #1 receiver in space. That's what I see. The game against Philly, he found a new target. He found a new tight end in Ferguson, but that wasn't enough. He didn't get the ball to Lamb enough to win this game.
11 catches, 191 yards. How much more do you want him to catch?
He needed to catch
11 catches, 191 yards.
He needed to get 194 yards.
There you go. So they can win the Super. So they could have won the game. That's basically it. He has weapons. The one weapon they got rid of, and I think that was a mistake, was Ezekiel Elliott, because you would have had a 1-2 punch in the backfield. Now you only got a 1 punch. And now teams are gearing for Pollard in the backfield. You don't have anybody else other than Pollard. Whereas if you had Zeke and Pollard, you had a strong case for your running game. You can either ground and pound, or you can come with the shiftiness with Pollard. That's why I think they got rid of a talent that they should have kept.
Okay. All right. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but Zeke was there last year and he looked like some trash. I don't know what makes him look different this year. But let's move on. Larry, your thoughts on the Cowboys?
Well, Sunday's game, I thought they actually played well enough to win. I can count about 4 or 5 plays had they been successful on, they would have won the game, but they didn't convert on any of those 4 or 5 plays. But they were right there, they came up about 2 or 3 yards short. They look like they're playing well now. I think Dak played well, but I still think Philly's a beast, and I don't think they'll beat them.
Okay. All right. I know Charles and Lauren are Commander fans, so I don't know whether we're going to get really a answer about what's up with the Cowboys, and I don't know whether they're going to take that time to dog them or not. So
I was hoping you would ask me this one. I'm ready to say.
Okay, well, what's your thoughts?
I'm gonna agree with what David said. I think that they do get scrutinized a lot because they are America's football team, but Dak was not listed as any of our top quarterbacks, and I think there's a reason for that.
Wow.
And I'm glad the Eagles won on Sunday. That's all.
Very astute.
Right. Charles, do you want to bash?
Hey, Lauren, you should come on the show more often because you make more sense than most of these people on this show. Because you nailed that. Okay?
Thank you very much.
I mean, the bottom line is this, man. I don't care, and he played great. His numbers, Dak's numbers, were amazing the other night against Philly. It was a good game. They performed. But he always comes up short. I don't care how it is or what happened or what the excuses are. He always comes up short. And he came up short this week. He took a bad sack late in the game there. And, I think the conference, the NFC is weak. And except for the 49ers and the Eagles, the rest of them, you can put them in a barrel, shake them up, and I don't know who's going to come out of that.
Okay, all right. So I got.
So I think this is my son right here
Uh-oh.
with the fire right there.
Emily, Carmen, Sharice, thanks for the comments.
Yeah, so my other niece Sharice on there too. Hi, Carmen.
Yes.
Okay. He does always come up short. All right, let's move on. now, David, you are a big proponent of not having the quarterbacks be involved with the MVP voting. So my question today is for our crew is, and I'll start with you, David. Can you name some players that you think would be eligible for the MVP that are not quarterbacks?
Off the top of my head, I can't name them, but you got a number of defensive players, defensive rush ends, linebackers that should be considered. Okay. Will they be considered? No, because it's a quarterback award. You know, they need to change the way the award is named. The best football player. I've been saying this for every year we've been doing this podcast. The most valuable player, of course, it's probably going to be the quarterback, but it's an unfair label. The quarterback is not always the best football player, and I think that's what the award should be. Who is the best football player, irrespective of position in the NFL? And it's not always a quarterback. Quarterbacks don't tackle anybody. They get protected. They get overly compensated. No, the best football player is probably the guy from San Francisco who just picked up the biggest defensive check, Bosa. I think he's probably the best football player, and that's the way I call it.
He's not playing out on Myles Garrett this year, though.
Okay. Well, Myles Garrett should be one of them too. He should be one of the top players considered. But will Myles Garrett, will Nick Bosa, will those players be fairly considered for most valuable player? No, and it's not right. It's not right at all.
All right. Okay. Carol, do you have any players that you think that you would consider for MVP this year that is not a quarterback?
Well, I told you guys on Monday.
That's William stole my thunder.
My guy, I'm sorry, but my guy from Jacksonville is doing an awesome job. The running back,
Etienne.
Yeah. Now Tyreek Hill is doing an awesome job in Miami. Okay, and to go back to what David said, if you look at our defensive players now, they're not Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor could take over a game on defense, not on offense, but on defense. He can sway a game. What defensive players that are playing right now can basically turn the game around for their team?
In a good way.
Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons.
William Hall has one down there. William Hall.
Myles Garrett.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because of Myles Garrett, look where Cleveland's at.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
okay. But will he be considered?
So,
no.
No. I'm not asking you that. I'm just asking you the players that you think. I'm not asking whether
I picked Jacksonville's running back because
MVP.
He is where the 2,000-yard rushers are at in previous years. He is right there. He can make 2,000 yards. He could probably break Eric Dickerson's record this year.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a good question. Charles, do you have any players that
I like the one the previous person had up, Hall. I like both Myles Garrett, and he also had up Tyreek Hill. I think those two, if it was a non-quarterback situation, those two are having that kind of.
All right, Miss Lauren, do you have any players?
Earl, let me ask Lauren a question. Is Therese Nicole your friend?
Yes, my good buddy, coworker.
Is she saying that about David, huh?
She's not paying attention. She's not paying attention.
All right, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay. players, non-quarterback, I would do Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
It don't have
Mm.
Like that.
until you gave me that answer, Lauren. I was really high on you, and I was saying, Larry's niece, she's got it together. Not nobody asked me, nobody cares. I'm a bit confused by the Travis Kelce selection, but I asked you, that's who you picked.
He just
Larry,
broke a record.
my God.
I would probably pick Brown from Philadelphia Eagles. He has 6 straight games where he got 125 yards receiving. That's quite an
A.J.
accomplishment.
Brown.
Dallas got to shut him
AJ
down.
Brown. Yeah, AJ Brown.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Okay, let's
And Lauren, yours was a good one too. I like that, Kelsey.
Thank you.
just no way, Calvin. No way Travis Kelce should be thought about in the MVP race. There's no way.
You don't think so?
And Earl, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Charles, I'm the one that's talking. So who's other opinion we're not going to give? Travis Kelce, that was the worst answer that we've had on the show tonight.
He just
Lauren, that
broke a
is not
record
true.
This weekend.
Huh?
He just broke a record this weekend. Kansas City receiving yards.
What kind
I
of
think
record?
it's 11,000. That's unbelievable.
Well, we're talking about the MVP for this year. We're not talking about someone's body of work for 11 years.
Okay.
I'm talking about the MVP candidate this year. And until you said that, I was so high on you, it was crazy. But Travis Kelce, no.
Well, wait
We
a
don't
minute.
leave him
In support of Lauren, let me just say this.
I stand 10 toes
If there
down.
was no Travis Kelce,
I like that. I'm with you. I'm with you,
there was
Lauren.
no Travis Kelce, then Kansas City would have lost several more games, period.
Yep.
He's
Did not make it to the Super
important.
Bowl.
He's that important.
Okay,
Yes.
guys. In the
Looks like
meeting,
everybody
we
sided
said,
with Lauren on this one,
in
Earl.
the meeting, guys, we said we were going to respect Lauren because she was Larry's niece. We weren't going to curse, but we were going to show big respect. Y'all going overboard. Ain't no way in the world Calvin Kelce is not even one of the top 15 candidates for the MVP, let alone one of the top. Are y'all serious? Are you serious? He only has good games. He only has good games when his girlfriend comes to the stadium. Other
Well,
times,
That
That might be enough. They're 6-2 for some reason.
Yeah. And she wasn't at all 6 games. I know. I watched all of them.
And then when one of their losses is when he wasn't there.
all right, we're spending too much time in Calvin's.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're not sorry. That's my fault to keep things moving along, and it's my fault for letting it go that long. This guy shouldn't have been talking about this guy over 10 seconds. As soon as you mentioned his name, we should have moved on. So let's move on. Okay, all right. So, the AFC conference or the NFC conference? I'm going to start with you, Charles. What do you think is the stronger conference?
The AFC. I think the AFC is stronger.
Larry Abels?
Oh, definitely the AFC. Well, I mean, when I think of the top teams, I don't really think the NFC has but one real super team, and that's Philadelphia.
The 49ers are a super team, and you say it every week, Larry. You'll see it at the
They've
end.
lost 3 in a row, and their quarterback.
You'll see it at the end. You'll see it when the smoke clears.
Thanks, cuz. I noticed that.
Everybody is on Lawrence.
I'm gonna get kicked off.
No, shit,
But
it
this
was crazy.
this is honestly the first time where I'm the only one that's right and everybody else is wrong. Y'all,
That must be it.
I'm never gonna be asked back.
he's a bum. He's a bum. He's not a
Yes, you
bum.
will.
Let's move on that one. Neil says the AFC. David, do you have a stronger conference?
The stronger conference, yeah, it's the AFC, but the best team is in the NFC, and that's Philadelphia. Oftentimes, the predominant best teams are in one conference or the other, yet the team from the so-called weaker conference ends up winning the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And I think provided there are no injuries, Philadelphia should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl, even though they're from the so-called weaker conference.
Mm-hmm.
Stronger conference, Lawrence. AFC or the NFC?
AFC.
Okay. Strong. I just want the conference. Just want stronger conference. Carol, between AFC or NFC?
It's the AFC, and David's right. last year, if you look at it, the NFC had a very strong conference. The NFC East could have put all 4 teams in the playoffs if you look at it.
We're not talking about last year. We're talking about this year.
We're talking about this year. And the
talking about
AFC, but the AFC won last year. And what did they have? They just had the Chiefs. And then now it's flip-flop now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And since the Eagles know the Chiefs, I don't think nobody in the AFC is going to beat them in the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right.
49ers.
Before we move on to the NBA, ladies and gentlemen, do you have a topic that I did not bring up that you wanted to talk about as far as the NFL? I'll be guessing not. Okay. All right. Let's go on over to the NBA. All right. David Burnett, what is your take on Victor? I can't pronounce his name.
Wembanyama.
Yeah. What is your take on him?
He has some growing to do. Statistically, he's the leading rookie in terms of points and rebounds at this point, leading rookie, but that doesn't mean anything. He still has a lot to learn about the NBA. My Indiana Pacers smacked the San Antonio Spurs by a bunch of points the other night. And Victor Wembanyama scored, I think, 13 points and had limited rebounds, and his shot was blocked several times. So right now, San Antonio's struggling. Wembanyama has like 2 points. He's still going to be a transformational player. He's going to be a player we're going to talk about for years, provided he doesn't get injured. And injuries ruin careers. Anthony Davis is probably the perfect example of a guy who's injured all the time and could have been an all-time great.
Okay. All right. Charles Snowden, your thoughts on Wembanyama?
Well, it's interesting. David has tempered his comments from a couple of weeks ago now, hasn't he? He kind of made him the greatest thing in the world coming in. And we all said, hey, he is unbelievable, but give him time to grow and develop, and it will take some time. But I think he's seeing the results of that. I think averaging 19 points and 8 rebounds as a rookie in that league is pretty impressive so far. And yes, he did have a bad game against the Pacers. So yes, I like him. Him and Chet Holmgren, the other tall guy like him that's with Oklahoma City, they had their stats up the other day. They're about the same. So I think those two may be over the next 10, 12 years, we're going to see the battle between the two of them.
Okay.
They're
All
unicorns.
Right. Okay. All right. Larry, your thoughts on him?
I think
he's
going to be a great player. Right now, he's already a good player right now. He's a rookie, so every night I don't expect him to do it. He has to learn the league and learn his opponents. But I see him growing. I saw him play last week against the Suns, and he really put the team on his back down the stretch. And then he got 20 in the first half, 18 in the second half, and they beat the Suns twice last week.
They did.
Okay. I don't like the wiffle waffle, but I have to go back to the NFL before we move on to the NBA game. Is C.J. Stroud one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League right now as of today? I'll start with you.
With me?
Larry, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, statistically, he definitely is, and he's okay. I think he's going to be rookie of the year. I think he's a very good player with very little talent around him, but he's actually showing up.
Okay, David, your thoughts?
What's the question? I'm sorry, I was making a recording.
Is C.J. Stroud one of the top 10?
No, he's the best rookie quarterback right now, and that's obvious. But is he the top 10 quarterback? I don't think you can make any quarterback who's on a 5-5 team and is a rookie the top in the top 10. There are definitely 10 veteran quarterbacks who are better than he is. Does he have a chance? I've got to eat some words because I was not initially enthralled by his performance or how he presented himself. But I'll take that back at this point because he's playing very well. He's the top rookie at this point. But is he a top 10 quarterback? No.
How about your boy Brock Purdy? Is he not out of your, he's out of your top 10 now?
Well,
too?
No, we're not talking about Purdy right now, Charles.
We're not talking
Well,
about
I'm trying to find out who his top 10 is, quite frankly.
Okay, well, we really don't have that much time, Charles, for him to figure out who the top 10 quarterbacks are. I don't mean to be rude to cut you off, but let's talk about Purdy another day. Lauren,
I don't know if I would put him in my top 10, but he's maybe like 11, 12. He's straddling the line there, but I was very impressed with their last game. I thought he was fantastic and definitely would say he's the best rookie in the NFL this year so far. So, yeah, but I don't want to give him top 10 just yet.
Uh-oh.
okay, Charles, back to you. What did you had a comment about Mr. Purdy? What did you want to elaborate
No,
on?
I was just trying to say. I was just saying that Stroud is doing really well, and he might be in the. I think he might be in the top 10. I have to look at that closely, but I'm talking about this year to year to date, this season up to this point. I don't know that there's I think he is in the top 10.
Earl, are you still with us? Hey, Carol, what do you think? You think he's in the top 10?
He's a rookie. I'm sorry. I can't put him there unless he's won. He's got a winning record. You see what I'm saying? Like Lamar Jackson, he came in as a rookie and he led the Ravens to a playoff. He led them to the playoffs. So for right now, no. Ask me again in December.
Okay.
We're talking about this year. We're talking about year to date. We're talking about week 1 to week 8 this year.
Mm-hmm.
He has 14 touchdowns. He has 1 interception. I think their team is, if they're not 4-4, they're right there. And that team is terrible. They were the worst team in the National Football League last year. So I don't know what you want a quarterback to do that he ain't done year to date. He put 39 points up on Tampa last week, had 475 yards and 5 touchdowns and no interception.
Chuck, slow your roll, man. I mean, he's playing well and Houston is playing better. But does that make him a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah, we're only talking about this year, David. We're only talking about this year to date.
In my eyes, and I've seen a lot. All of us have seen a lot of football because we are old and geriatric. But
this year,
he's not a top 10 quarterback at this time. But that doesn't mean he's playing poorly. He's playing very well. But in my opinion, he's not top 10. Maybe next year, the year after. He's not Patrick Mahomes. No.
Jesus Christ. He's won, by the way.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to the NBA, guys. He has top 10. CJ Stroud has top 10 numbers. But that, like they say, that
statistically he is.
They're 4-4. I don't know what else y'all want.
That's right. You're right.
Okay, back to the NBA. Lauren.
Yes, sir.
Are the Celtics a better team this year with the trades they made, or were they better last year?
I think they're better this year. And I know it's still really early on, but adding Porzingis, adding Holiday were very smart choices by them. And I think that they're going to be a better team than they were last year. We might see them go. Well, Milwaukee, I think, is probably going to go to the finals. I know that's really an early prediction, but they may give them some trouble down the line when we get to playoffs.
Okay. All right, Charles Snowden, what do you think is the better team? Last year's Celtic team or this year's Celtic team?
This year's team, if they stay healthy. It's this year.
Yes.
Porzingis is the key.
David Burnett, your thoughts on the current Celtic team and last year's Celtic team?
Uninjured, they are a very good team. Are they better than last year? You have to understand the chemistry of the team. They lose in chemistry, just like, for instance, what's happening with Milwaukee Bucks. The loss of Drew Holiday, just because he's not as offensively explosive as Damian Lillard, has disturbed the chemistry of the team. Drew Holiday was one of the glue pieces for the Bucks. So conversely, the Celtics lost one of their glue pieces too. And adding Porzingis, what does that mean? Porzingis is injured every single year, regardless of his unicorn status at 7'3.5". He's always hurt. So it's a matter of time. I don't know that they're necessarily better. They may be better if he doesn't get hurt, but I guarantee you he will get hurt.
Okay. Carol, your thoughts on the Celtics team? Which one is the better team, last year or this year?
They're better this year. However, I'm going to take the same road as everybody else. It's health.
Mm-hmm.
They don't play the way we play. And so because they don't play the way we play, they get injured too easily. They soft. They're soft. And because they're soft, when one person goes down, especially a superstar, the team goes with it. And that's
all right. Larry, your thoughts between what team is the better?
Well, I think this year's team is better. And you got to remember Boston had injuries last year, too. One of their best players to me defensively, Robert Williams, couldn't stay healthy the whole time he was there. Yep. Porzingis, by contrast, was healthy last year. So assuming the people are healthy, I think they have a better team this year.
All right. Okay.
The thing that they can do better this year that they couldn't do last year at all, and we saw that in the playoffs with Porzingis healthy, they can shoot the ball better. They couldn't shoot from outside last year.
Okay. So William Hall says the Celtics are better this year, but the 76ers, I don't even know how that got in the conversation. We weren't talking about them.
They're playing tonight. They're playing tonight.
And both teams are 6-1. And both teams
that has nothing to do with the Celtics are better this year than last year. 76ers don't have anything to do with that.
Well, he answered it in his first clause. He has the answer there.
Yeah, I'm just going by the whole answer. He's bringing up a team I didn't ask anything about. Appreciate you for coming on the show, though, William.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, keep them coming.
So, Neil says, put my phone on silent. Okay, let's move on here. Right.
3 years.
Every show.
Every single show.
I'm not even going to address that situation. We're going to move on. We're having a good time. We're going to move on here. Okay, NBA. So I actually think that Boston was better last year. I think they weakened themselves with their trade when they got rid of Williams. I think they weakened themselves when they got rid of Smart. I'm not a big who's their point guard now? I'm not a big what is it?
Drew Holiday.
I'm not a big Drew Holiday fan, but everybody else loves him but me. So it could be one of those.
On that too.
Could be one of those times when I was wrong. But the Celtics are definitely not better this year than last year. What are they going to do when Porzingis does get hurt?
They're going to still win because they still going to have Holiday, Brown, and Tatum.
Yep.
That's right.
They will still win.
That's right.
Okay.
He's the fourth option. He can become the fourth option on that team.
Hey, what happens if Joker gets hurt? What happens if Embiid gets hurt? What happens if LeBron gets hurt? I mean, that's what we've been talking about. It's hard to speculate.
Well, some players get hurt all the time.
Okay.
Right.
Some players are hurt perpetually. Why don't you talk about Anthony Brittle Bones, Bird Bones Davis? He's hurt all the freaking time.
He's telling the truth.
Every single freaking year.
Sorry about that, Neil. Drew is one of your favorite players. But while you're here, he is overrated. Okay. Let's move on.
Oh, Lord.
All right, David Burnett.
Yes, sir.
do you think that is it a silly question for me to question whether the Lakers will make the playoffs or not?
You know what? The Lakers are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. We cannot have a conversation about the NBA without having a conversation about the Lakers, no matter who's on the team, no matter the makeup of the team. And that's what's wrong with the darn NBA as it is now. You focus on just a couple of teams, and I'm sick of it.
Wow, I'm with you,
Yeah.
Sharif.
That's my other niece. I guess she agrees with Mr. David as well.
Okay. All right, Charles. You're a Laker lover and a LeBron lover, so that's a question I think we don't even need to ask you about.
Yeah, we don't have to ask me. Yes, they'll make the playoffs, and they'll
All
make a run for the title.
Carol, what are your thoughts on the Lakers? Do you think they'll make the playoffs team? I think that they're trash this year. I am a Laker fan, but I think that they're trash this year, even though it's early. What do you think the Lakers go to the playoffs this year, Carol?
They might make it as an 8 seed. I can see that. Right now, there's no cohesiveness as far as the team. They're not gelling yet. And they'll probably gel right after the All-Star break.
Glass man.
Oh, wow. Glassman Davis. We get kind of nasty here on the show. All right. Okay. Okay, 8th seed. So you do think that they will make it. You just don't know how high. Okay. All right, Larry, do you think the Lakers – oh, another thing, Lauren, when I moderate, I usually like looking for people to answer the questions that I ask and not go off on a
Yeah, Kelsey. Yeah.
Larry, do you think the Lakers should go into the playoffs?
If we're talking about okay, so 10 out of the 13 teams will make that, that first round. They had that play in. So if you're talking about making the play in, 10 out of those first teams will do that. So they're going to get in there. Now, if you're talking about being in the top 8, I still think they'll probably be one of the top 8 teams as well. But it's harder not to make the playoffs than it is to make the playoffs. Only 3 teams are really eliminated.
We might. Okay. I like Therese. I'm willing to sit out some weeks so she can come in and take my place. I like this.
I got a tough family, man.
Knowledgeable.
So Lauren, gosh, too many people. I'm lost my mind. Lauren, did you answer that question?
Not yet, but I agree. If they make it, it'll be barely making it, and I don't think Anthony Davis will make it.
Oops.
Wow. Okay. I don't like to bring this up because I get sick when I hear his name because Chuck just loves it to death. But is LeBron still one of the top 10 players in the league? I'll start with you, David Burnett.
The question is what?
Is LeBron still one of the top 10 players in the league?
No.
Oops.
Really?
I still think he is a tremendous player in his 21st season in the NBA. A very good player. Is he a top 10 player? No, not right now. There are many other players now who have passed LeBron, regardless of what his scoring average is. It doesn't change the fact that he is in the argument as one of the greatest players of all time. That doesn't take away. If we say that a guy who's 38, 39 years old, 21 years in the league is not the top 10, that's not a slight at the guy. He's had a phenomenal career, but he's no longer in the top 10.
But don't age discriminate also.
I'm not age whoa. I'm not age discriminating against. I'm just pointing out.
You're saying because he's older, that's why he can't be in that conversation. That's age discrimination.
No, he's not performing the same.
Are you
caliber.
kidding me?
No, he's not.
Compared to what? Compared to his previous
Well,
years?
I know you are
players?
his agent. I know you are. I know you're part of his family. I get that. So I accept that.
I can't wait to answer this.
Okay. All right. So, Larry, is LeBron the top 10 players, still one of the top 10 players in the league?
If I'm judging him by the way he's playing this year, yes.
That's
If
all
you
we
guys
can
have been
judge him
watching
by.
him
That's
every
all we
night,
can judge him by.
every night he's played this year. Now, ultimately, he may not be But at the start of the season, he's as good as anybody out there. And I've seen him
Your
on
thought-
4 of his games.
Okay.
Say it a little louder, Larry, because David's in Indianapolis. He might not be able to hear it that far.
Your
I don't
thoughts,
think
Carol.
he's watched him play.
Your thoughts, Carol.
Look, he's been top 10 since he was a rookie.
No, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about is he
He's
the top?
and all the way till right now, he's carrying the Lakers.
Okay.
He's carrying the Lakers, which makes him in that argument of top 10.
Because he's carrying the Lakers?
He's doing what he has to do to get them over the top.
Okay.
No,
But okay, there are 32 teams in the league, and
that's right.
Each team has somebody that's doing what they put to the top.
The only problem,
How can they be considered the top 10 because they're trying to help their team?
the problem with those teams is they don't have a 38-year-old playing like a 27-year-old.
Okay. All right. There you go, Lauren. Your thoughts is LeBron James in the top 10? Still?
Yes, and he will be as long as he's playing in the NBA, in my eyes. Yes.
Okay.
She might be related to Chuck.
I did a bad job. I did a bad job of moderating the show today because I was up. I got plenty more stuff to ask about the NBA, but we got to go. Let's anybody have closing remarks? I'll start with you. Do you have closing remarks, Charles? No.
I do. I have a closing remark. It's the beginning of the college basketball season. It started on Monday. Hooray, I love it. It already got off to a bang. That LSU team that won the national championship for ladies, they already lost to Colorado the other night. Baylor and Auburn had a great game last night. Baylor won in overtime. My Hoosiers won. Georgetown won. Maryland won. College basketball is back, baby, and I'm excited about it.
Okay, David Burnett, do you have a closing remark?
I do. It's about basketball as well. I just want to shout out to my Indiana Pacers who are really, really good this year. And to those who doubt, and I'm speaking specifically to a specific individual, Tyrese Halliburton is leading the league in assists, averaging over 20 points a game, scored 40-some points the other night. He's a great, great young player, and he is the key to the Indiana Pacers getting in the playoffs finally for the first time. Look, they won by 40 the other night. They are an outstanding young team that should not be overlooked. That's my closing comment. First of all, let me just say this. We're not supposed to interrupt each other's closing comments.
I apologize.
No, you don't.
All right. You have a closing remark, Lauren?
Yes, I want to give a special shout out to Stephon Diggs because he went to good counsel as I did as well, and he's been playing lights out for the longest time. But this last game against the Bengals, unbelievable. So I just want to give a special shout out to my good counsel alumni and a special thank you to all you gentlemen for having me on tonight. This was a blast.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show, and hopefully, Lauren, you'll have some nights in your life where you need a life, and you'll come back on the show.
I would love to.
And I'd like your sister to come on the show as well.
She would love that too.
I like Sharice. I actually like her to take my spot. She's good.
She's a mess.
Anyway, do you have any closing remarks, Carol?
Yeah.
Hey, Carol, hold on before you go on. We're really running out of time. So
I got you. I'm trying to make it quick. You interrupted me. Listen, the NBA in-season tournament, unless it's done just before the All-Star break or right after the All-Star break, it's not a good idea.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it, man. I told you. That's it.
Okay, all right. Larry, do you have a closing remark?
Yeah, David touched on it earlier in the broadcast. I'm going to take my hat off, and I don't know how great this team will be, but I'm ready to give the coach of the year to in the NFL to Mike Tomlin. I don't know how he's doing it, but they're like 63 or something like that. He has done a masterful job. So I want to give him a shout out right now while the gourd is still good.
Okay. Well, Larry, you've been on the show 2.5 years, and we usually get along. This is the first time you said something that I just thought was simply ridiculous. In 2.5 years, I mean, the Steelers are playing well, but Coach of the Year, no. In my opinion, I asked you. You gave me yours. No, you're right. I'm wrong, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming on the show today. It was rather interesting, actually. Rather interesting. Hopefully, Larry can get his family to come back on the show. They enhanced the show a bit, and we'll see. Well,
a lot of responses tonight.
Yeah.
Nice having Earl on the show as well.
Yeah.
Carol
was good. His answers were kind of long, but Carol was good. He was good. Carol,
I
thank you.
was speaking too long that day.
Yeah. He was,
It's your first time. Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. So we're going to wrap this up. We went overboard. Thank everyone for coming on to the show. Lauren, don't cut off because I'm going to talk to you after the show. So
Okay.
We're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much. I'm Earl.
Good job, Go. Good job, Lauren, Carol,
Thanks, guys.
David, Mr. Abels.